So on this video, I'll be going through how I arrange my layers when I'm working on my pictures, my drawings. So since I've worked on this picture before, I made a complete video from the beginning to the end on how I made this work here. So I'll be using this picture to explain how I arrange my layers. So if you want to see how I worked on that picture there, so you can go through my previous videos. They are here on YouTube. You can check them out and see how I sketched that picture from the beginning to the end. So the first layer I have here is the reference picture, which usually if I start this sketch, it's not actually the top layer. There is the last layer I do keep when I want to sketch. So it's after I finished the work, that was when I brought the layer to be the top layer here. So that's what I have. The first thing I do when I'm sketching is I make the outlines, which this is the layer for the outline here, which this is the layer I just opened. Then after the sketch, that's the outline. The next thing I do is make the hair. Now on the hair, sometimes I put the layer above the sketch layer, and sometimes I put it below the sketch layer. But if you can see from this one, I put the layer below the sketch layer. So it depends on how I want it and how I see the reference picture. So if sometimes the hair is covering the face, I do put the hair above the sketch layer. But if it's not covering the face, I put it below the sketch layer. So the next thing then I do is to make the iris. So after that, then I move next to the lips. It depends on how the work is. You can do it anytime. Then after I make the outline, I make the hair, I make the iris, and the next thing is to start putting some of my base colors. So from here, if you can see, the next thing I did was I made the lips. After making the lips, then I locked the transparency. I shaded the lips on the same layer which I made. I put the base color. Then I put the base color for the clothes that she's wearing. Then the base color for the skin. Then the next thing to do was to paint the eye and put the hair rings and her necklace. So if you want to see in details on how I did this work, as I've said, you can check my previous videos, so you see how I worked on this picture here. So on this layer, I have the shirt that is within, so should I call it underwear, right? Underwear. So after that, then I shade the clothes. So on the cloth shading, as you can see, I shaded the cloth on a different layer from the one I actually put the base color. So you can see the shading is here while the base color is here. So it depends. You can lock the transparency and shade on the same layer with the base color, and you can create a new layer and shade anyone that works for you. But if you shade on a different layer, it makes it easier for you to make corrections if you want to. After that, after shading the cloth, then the next thing I did was to start the shading. So this is the most important part that I want most people to actually get. When I'm shading my works, I don't actually go straight, like deep into shading. Okay, as I go on with the video, you understand what I mean. Now with this, the first layer of the shading, which is here, this layer here, this is the first layer of my shading. Now this is the first layer for the shadow, second layer for the shadow, and this is the light. I have the light here. So what I did was I put the colors there on the first layer of the shadow a bit, not too dark. I just darkened the base color of the skin a bit, and I put down the color and I put down the shading there. So the next layer was I darkened the color deeper, so I shaded. Then the next layer there is the light. So the mistake some people do make is that when shading their works, they do go straight to darker colors instead of taking the shading gradually. So what you're supposed to do is you take the shading gradually, a bit darker, then a darker color, then the light. So once you do that, you see your colors are going to blend. But if you go straight to darker colors and it's not blending, look at what will happen if I open this. So that's how you're supposed to shade: a bit darker, then the lights. You can create as many layers as you want for the shadows only and also for the lights. You should not limit yourself to just, okay, let me create one layer for the shading and one layer for the lights. So you can create as many layers as you want. You can finish and match them all together. Just that the more you create many layers, the more it makes it easier for you to shade and for you to clean and adjust some parts that are not that you're not okay with. So the last part was the hair shading. Even the hair shading, as you can see here, I put a little bit light there. So after the light, then a brighter color than the one that was earlier there. So if you can see, if the one below it, that's this layer, is not there, it's not making any sense. But look at what will happen if I put it there. So now the hair is making sense. Whenever you are shading, don't just go straight to a darker color straight and paint and put your lights there. It's not going to blend. Take it gradually, then your work is going to blend.